And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world. Really appreciate every single one of you. Coming to you from the Spaceship Studios from a galaxy far, far away. Alright, so it looks like we got a flower that's going to be sprouting. Going to be blooming on this thing. It's pretty cool. So, we got, a whole bunch of them coming up. Hey, Lemon. Good to see you. Yeah, and in the garden we have, they are producing lots of okra. That is what's going on. Yeah, the last one, the phone went out because it was so hot. It overheated the phone. So it's kind of crazy. It's not a lizard. It is a lizard. You're actually right. That is a lizard. Good eye right there. That's a good eye. Yeah, I thought it was just a thing, but I thought to myself, how could it just be a thing? That doesn't make any sense. It's a lizard. Bro's trying to be disguising himself. He thinks no one could see him. He's incognito. He's like frozen on that. Hey, Carlos, great to see you. This is a frozen lizard. Must be a lizard alien that's just hanging out right there. Yeah, he is just, I noticed there was a thing there, but I didn't know what it was exactly. Yeah, because earlier it was much too, the phone was going to explode. So, because it just went black and it had like a thermometer and it said, you need to cool it down. It's not a gecko. It's a regular yard lizard, I think. It's not a gecko, but it looks like a gecko because the way it's trying to blend in. It's like trying to do camouflage, but it's a regular green lizard you'd see in a yard, but it's disguised as one. Yeah, but it did a good job. It fooled me. Yeah, it's like if you go in especially in the States, there's times where you'll see like a green lizard with its like a chin poking out. It's like that kind of lizard, but he's trying to like blend in and change himself to a different color. But the thing is, he looks a little bit like he stands out. I've never seen one that color before, but he's trying to blend in. That's his point. And he thinks no one could see him, but everybody can see him. Good morning, Saul. Welcome to the chat. Great to see you as always. And yeah, and just by the way, that's another okra going to be sprouting because there's so many of them coming up everywhere. We're having a marathon of okra. We had so much rain, we couldn't really do these lives, and it was hot too, but it all had to do that so we could get these plants. There's okra all over that thing. The okra avalanche. Hey, and this plant's getting big. Right there. It's getting big. Now, in my opinion, that looks more like the weed plant than those other plants do. But again, it's not weed, but that looks more similar to it than the other plants everyone says is weed, because it's much thinner leaves here. But it is and see right here, we have the flowers coming up there. I'm sure there's okra behind here. Yeah, I'm right, yeah. This thing's like all over the place. Oh, look at that, chat. Look at the chat. This is crazy. Like, right there. I didn't even know that was there. There's an okra there. I didn't know it was there. That's the thing. It's like there's probably plants that I don't even know that are there. It's so dense. Yeah, it's all over the place. Oh, look at this. he either moved really quickly or there's another one. And the beetle apocalypse has seemingly ended. Haven't seen much beetles work recently. Oh, that's good. Maybe they brought in some reinforcements and wiped them out. Or maybe they decided to go bother someone else. Another area. Yeah, so glad that has dissipated because it was getting kind of weird. Yeah, so behind the plant, there's ochres growing. There's parts of it that I didn't even know that were there. This is interdimensional okra. Now look at that, chat. There's another okra right there. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know it was there. Okay. So definitely the okra thing was successful. Go this way. All right, that's all of them. So that was cool, and it sounds like Bubbles or what's his name? Claude must be having a battle in the distance. Okay. The next rains will probably trigger another beetle invasion. Oh, okay. Yeah, because you see, the rain will certainly bring those things out. And down here, they always bring out bugs and stuff. It's the rain and the humidity and all, it just attracts them. This is so, okay, it looks, I don't know what went through here. If it was rain or something. But that doesn't make any sense. If it was wind, I don't know what came through here, but that was that tree, and it just kind of looks like it moved over. Looks like some of the limbs broke. I don't know what's... Yeah, it's a skunk ape. Yeah. It must be a skunk ape that went through here, chat. Because it's like the branches are broken. So some of the things are broken. And that completely was over like this way, and it moved that way. So there's something lurking around. Yeah, there's some broken branches. Interesting. Scared. A hicko possum. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. Okay. Going to move through here. Okay, let's see what's going on this way. So, it looks pretty, much the same. It's just it's gotten bigger. And this part, I'm scared. See, possum, I don't know, if possums get very thick because the closest thing we have to possums are cats. Yeah. Their possums are kind of similar looking to rats, too. That's another thing they're similar to. Yeah, definitely. I got the handy-dandy dragonfly that's all over me. Okay. This way. See through here. It's just a kind of like the same a little bit where it used to be, but there's just lots of more growth. Yeah, that rain, look at that rain did. Look how big those things are getting because of the rain. Yeah, dragonfly ambush. Yeah, definitely. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, just everything just got gigantic. All right. So, and it always grows really big. It always gets really huge over time. And let's see. Yeah, down here we have other. Let's see. It looks like, did they open it up? This looks like it just kind of disintegrating, I guess, but it's a little bit different looking, but it, maybe older. But whenever it's ready to go, we'll definitely tear it down to look for more of them. But yeah, that is the house of crawfish, because they're in there somewhere. And there, yeah, so let's see, he said something. I don't know if I've asked before, but is the soil there sandy, clayish, or loomy? It's more clay. It's like a gray clay and brown, dark soil mixed. There's also clam shells. And rocks and things in there too. Okay. It's cool. So yeah, just it's incredible wildlife. Just so much dense forest. It's just really fascinating. Where I am, it's, very moist. It's like a swamp. Okay, so going through here. Okay. Apparently, watermelons like sandy, dry soil, so I'll be trying to plant them soon. Oh, that's cool. I'd like to see how that goes. That is awesome. All right, so we got many of these nice things growing. Oh. Okay. Yep. So there could be the skunk ape cryptids might be roaming around. And that's pretty cool because, well, it's not pretty cool, but it's like fascinating, but it makes you scared because, like, what did that, right? So it makes you think that there's some skunk apes lurking within the shadows somewhere. Okay, and now we are going this way, and these are my cucumbers. Let's see if we have anything growing, because we need to see if they're ready, because these things will just pop out of nowhere. All right. So that's going to be coming up soon. That's been coming up soon. And that thing could just grow in a day. Like, just go and just get big. Oh, yeah. Because where I am, it's clay, but it's also just regular soil. Like my soil is also just regular, too. But there's also, if you dig deep, it's clay as well. And we look here because there's going to be all kinds of... All right, I did something, but I'm back. And, okay, look at this, chat, if y'all could see me. And you see right there, that is a cucumber growing. Right there. It's almost ready. All right, keep an eye on it. So we have to keep an eye on all of our, cucumbers, because, they'll get overripened and we have to use them as seeds, but that's okay. But we also want to eat them too. All right, so that is partially what this part of the stream is. It's consisting of looking at the, and that is the cucumber. All right, so we have plenty of cucumbers be coming up. We're just going to be checking it every day just to see when they're all ready. Okay. Okay, and also they're over here too. Let's see. Yeah, this is pretty big. It's a lot. All right. So far at the moment, we don't see any newer ones coming up, but I'm sure they're probably there somewhere. Okay. And that's the pumpkin. Hello, Brig. Salute to you. And yeah, that is the pumpkin. It's a vine that's taken over that whole thing right there. Okay, so, and that is the cucumbers. And we're going to see how more of them come up. And yeah, and there are a lot of cryptids out there. And Brig, hope everything is going well with you. And there are tons of instances, speaking of cryptids, there are tons of them that people see, but they might think they're aliens. There's this thing where, like, James Franco was talking about on his social media. He was seeing an alien in a shed somewhere, or, around his house, and they're asking me about it. The chat was asking me about it, and I thought, like, if either it could be an alien or it could be a cryptid of some kind that might be around, because or my other theory, the interdimensional beings, because sometimes they could travel from different dimensions, from our realm to another realm. That's where the Bigfoot concept would come from, and the UFOs in general, because a lot of times with the UFOs, they appear and they disappear. Okay, look at this guy. He moved a little bit since the last time we were here. Yeah, and so That's what I would say. And you know, an alien, sometimes they can crash their ship somewhere, or they could, you know, use technology to coat their presence, or people would not even know that they're there. And when they do that, you wouldn't even know what's going on, and then they just come and appear. So it's also possible they're doing that. So I here's another one of those lizards. It's weird. I've not seen that color lizard before. I don't know if we're having a migration of these things. Not exactly certain, but I don't know. I don't know what this is exactly. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I don't. As I said, I've not seen this type of lizard before, but yeah, they're all plotting. It looks like. Yeah. So anyway, the cryptids, they that's what he could be seeing, or he could be seeing. It could be even a ghost. Some people think the ghosts and the aliens are connected somehow. So yeah, those are things that I think that what he was seeing was. Okay, so it looks like the lizards are taking over the yard. This new brand of lizard aliens taking over the yard, and that's some wild stuff. So, and I like how these lizards are plotting. They just came in out of nowhere and they just started, you know, setting themselves up, making themselves at home. Yeah, the lizard squad. Yeah, look, these elephant ear plants got huge. They got really huge. I'm scared. But yeah, it's the lizards are taking over. They're more red than Red Rover. Is this entire yard they want? They feel lucky like four-leaf clover. I'm exposing them live. I showed them. Like a four, no joke. Yes. Yeah, leaves being the size of people. Yes. Yeah, the leaves are 4 across. Yeah. I hear something buzzing. I don't know what it is exactly. So there's something buzzing. So I mean, somewhere in there is something buzzing. I don't know what it is. It's probably like a bee or a wasp or something. Not entirely sure what that is. But of course, I'm not gonna necessarily like, go put my hand in there. But yeah, there's something. There's something there. I don't know what it is exactly. Y'all probably can't even hear it, but yeah, it's this very, very low hum, like wings flapping. Yeah, that is pretty interesting. We have not had an experience where we hear something buzzing around like that. Okay. All right. So I hear it again. That is weird. This is a bizarre experience. How did it get over here? Huh. It's just a faint, buzzy sound. And it's coming over from this way. It might just be the same area, but it's really loud now. Yeah, it might just be that same spot. Yes, I have the fence on me. Yeah, it must be one of those things in there. But it made the noise, the buzzing noise, so loud that I could hear it over this way. Because you see, the sound travels a certain way. When I'm right here, there's just this open terrain from that way to this way. Yeah, and you see, because a lot of times I think with the cryptids, they can cause people surprise, like what we're witnessing now. Like, we don't know what it is exactly or what's going on. That's what, like, people that see cryptids understand. It's like something that's kind of odd or out of place, and you don't know what it is exactly, so they come up with different theories of what it is. That is basically like what we're also experiencing here. And actually, in that region... Oh, okay, Musty. Okay. And... you know, another thing that people will see when something's... Yes, maybe it's underground people like Futurama. Okay, so that's a good thing to bring up. So there's this theory about the Earth, the center of the Earth, where people dwell, and similar to the Antarctica theory, where in Antarctica there are these people that live under the Earth, and they come out, or they have their own civilization under there. It's kind of a similar concept, and that's something that I personally think is similar to, to Futurama and that type of concept. And that could very well be what the cryptids are. Yeah, the Nordic aliens could be all of them, really. The lizards, the gray aliens, they're all apparently things from the center of the Earth, possibly. That's something that was speculated before. That's one, not speculated. It's one of the theories. Now, those Nordic aliens were from a constellation of the sister stars, but where they really may come from is probably the inner Earth. Yeah, and a lot of times they come from inner Earth, and that's, UFOs come from they come from underwater a lot of times. So yeah, the Nordic aliens are one of them. And cryptids in general might be things from inner Earth, and they come out here and then they go back down where they came from. Or there's some other dimensional realm or area here that we're not really detecting or being familiar with. Like if I was passing through this way and there's something over here, I may not see it. It may be something like that too. And that is an abstract concept of the inner earth theory, where there are things that exist that just kind of defy our logic and reasoning about what is reality. Because the factor is with aliens. So many people for a long time didn't believe in the alien theory or thought it was something silly. But over time, it was absolutely crucial when people were seeing them everywhere and they couldn't hide them anymore. So they went and said, you know what? There's something out there. And in the UFO files, I know people say, which is true, that they're not being shown like everything that we could be seeing. But they definitely are in the files. Oh, thank you, Carlos, for the gifted memberships. I appreciate it. Yes. Yeah, Champion Carlos, yeah. Awesome crew member of the spaceship. So yeah, but that is basically what happened. It's, essential that the people understand that, is that in the UFO files, there's thousands of reports of people and stories of seeing UFO counters and sightings that people did not see before or were told about before in the past. There are videos out there from the files that are very perplexing that have never been seen. Like there's a strange... No more super chat stickers. Those are really cool. I like them too. Those are cool as well. I like the different ones you come up with. I don't know how it works exactly, if you come up with them or they give you options. I'm not too sure how it works. Oh, I appreciate it for the rubies, the jewels. Appreciate it. Send Spain. Facts. Yeah, and yeah, but people could send, if they want to send the super sticker or super chat or whatever, or the jewels. We have the jewels now, because remember the other nights they were telling me about the jewels. They want to send some to me, and I activated it, and it's been pretty cool. Stickers disappeared. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. I wonder if I switched a setting off by mistake. I have to go back and look to see if I switched something off. It should be working though, but thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, but people should be able to send that too. But I'll go see if I switched something off later. Sometimes YouTube is funny and it has a mind of its own. Oh, sunshine. I like that. That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm always like tempted to see the moon, but I don't see the moon there. But like my mind does like a Mandela effect, and it sees a moon there, but it's not there. And the Mandela. So thank you, Carlos. I really appreciate it. The Mandela effect is when you see something that isn't really there because it's some sort of time machine warp. That's what will happen with me, with the moon. So yeah, that is something interesting. Maybe chat's not here either. X-Files theme. Yeah. Oh, you're back, bro. That's cool. Scared. Yeah, maybe we're in the Matrix or we're in the Twilight Zone. And the X-File theme is the theme of my spaceship. It's like when the Mockingbird doesn't come around and we wonder where he is. I'm scared. Okay, so there's... Oh, you saw an eye back there. Very well may be. And, you know, there are the swamp puppies. Yeah, the swamp puppies are most likely lurking around. Oh, okay, Lemon. Enjoy your puzzle game. It's been a while since I've done a puzzle. Well, I do puzzles every day, technically, but not the kind of puzzle games, the fun ones that you're talking about. Yeah, the swamp puppy, that's what it must be. So they are in this area, and they could be lurking around, and I don't even realize it. Oh, hey, Passion. It's great to see you. Alien chat and lurkers. Oh, it's great to see you. Yeah, and that is, you know, in this labyrinth of cucumbers, we have one coming up right there. It's coming up along. It's almost ready, and we have a couple of them, which is going to be good to eat. And as I said, the cucumbers from the plant look and taste like... Oh, they taste amazing, but they look a lot like pickles. So I'm watching them very closely so we can take... And I have to check it every single day, because I came over here and I saw one. I saw the orange one, and it means that it needs to be a seed. I'm like, it's like a day. It could look like a little pebble, and then the next day it's all big. So, yeah, but these are the pumpkin plants. Because, remember, I didn't even know exactly what it was, but then I'm like, okay, it's a cucumber. So look, Alien, I can't believe I gotta have the discussion with you, of all people. Oh, hey, Brig Commander. I'm all ears and all eyes. Sure. And, yeah, and... Yes. I think that would be the golden rule. To not take things that don't belong to you. Yeah. Scared. And, yeah, so I wonder if there's cryptid plants. We live in a society, we can't be having any theft going on. I agree, Passion, it makes sense to me. Because, you know, if you steal from one person, you steal from all of humanity. And we have to follow rules and not break the rules too much, but maybe sometimes. Only those pirates steal, and I'm just an honest sailor. Ah, okay. So you didn't buy my story that the panda was from an alien planet? That you want me to return the panda back to Earth? Okay, well, as I said, it's a panda from another planet, from planet Serpo. And planet Serpo is a planet with two suns in the Zeta Reticuli constellation. It's the same constellation where the alleged Greys are. And it's allegedly a real thing that happened. It was this place where it was a desert planet, and there is an alien that crashed here with his UFO, and the aliens wanted to retrieve his body, and the Guberment said they wanted their technology. And when they did that, we had to go and send 12 of our people over there to their planet. Passion is scared. So what happened was we sent 12 of our people over there, and during the journey, one of them passed away or was deleted somehow. Trash pandas, yeah. Or raccoons, yeah. And the aliens took the dude's body and used it for experimentation purposes, and they took away all their weapons. It was kind of, they were real suspicious of the aliens, but they made it through their mothership over a couple of months through the stars, kind of like Star Trek. And then they went to the planet Serpo. So it's a desert planet with 2 suns, and there's pandas there too. They look identical to the pandas on Earth. And the aliens lived in like Pueblo type things. Passion says, trying to be Noah and collect 2 of every species. I see what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, and she has a theory about the Noah's Ark. We're trying to take 2 of each species. She might be onto me, scared. So that's what they did, and they were exploring Serpo and dealing with the aliens, and they had electricity that worked perfectly fine without any type of, electricity like what we have. It was all like telepathic. They ate some chalk type substance, but the humans ate some sort of animal on Serpo, and they ate another thing that was a herb of some kind. So that's what they ate on the humans ate in Serpo. There's one that stayed behind, and the rest of them came back to Earth, and they all had different identities and names, and that was allegedly what it is. So in Serpo, and I'm an alien from another planet, on Serpo, there was this incident where we have pandas, and we used the panda, a nice picture of our panda on Serpo, and he's eating some Serpo bamboo. Oh, thanks for the star. I appreciate it. Yeah, and that is what occurred. And see, Passion insists that it's a Earthling panda, and I don't know what to say, but they are identical, because sometimes, and the aliens on Serpo are called Ebians. They look like the Greys, but they're allegedly nicer and not psychotic and crazy like the Grey aliens are. So yeah, we have our panda mascot, and he is enjoying his space bamboo. But he may need to visit Earth, because there's so many pandas on Earth that he might want to be friends with, that it wouldn't be a problem to also show him Earth maybe. But I insist he was originally from Serpo and not Earth, but they do look identical. I will agree. Passion says, I need to see a photo of the panda on a hospital bed with his wife to prove it's happy. All right. Absolutely. Certainly that will be done to prove that it is there and happy. he will be glad to show passion. He's okay. Chat, there's another lizard. This is the third one we've seen. Oh, hear the mockingbird now. Okay, so that's the mockingbird's in the background, and there's another one of those lizards. All right, so and you see lizard things that can't be spotted by anything. Yeah, right on time at 5 a.m. Yeah. He is way up in his trees. Scared. Imagine the lizard about as long as your arm, and you got an Aussie guana. Ah, okay. Scared. So if we're doing an Aussie garden live, I'd see bro the size of this entire plant pretty much. And I'd see like a spider the size of a dog. And I'd see a fly the size of that plant. So yeah, everything's just bigger over there. Yes, he must have a cuckoo clock. A cuckoo clock. Yeah, and so the bird is lays in his nest, you know, like roosting in his nest, and he hears the time to go tweet, right? And he has his own little cuckoo clock, and he does his song. He would have already come at you and tried to climb you like you're a tree. Oh, okay, so it would have been an interactive garden live. An interactive Aussie garden live. So I just would have been chilling over here, and bro would have just leaped on me, and he would have just been on my arm. And then I could just turn the camera to my face, and he could be on my shoulder. And probably a parrot would fly on me, and some giant spider would sit in my head. Yeah. Yeah, so shout out to our to the Aussie critters out there, because down here where I am, it's just a little bit wee bit small right there, and he's not ambitious enough to climb my arm. He wants to just like stay frozen, like he's about to do a dance move, and he's just kind of like stuck there. Yeah. Well, we've been looking for Mr. Mockingbird, so it's good that we can see him again. His sharp talons would cut you covered in disease and rotten meat. He'd be a carnivore. Oh, okay, so it would be a lunchtime or a dinner time garden live it'd be like a Aussie lizard dinner live. Okay, that's really interactive right there. They're kind of freaky guana shivers. Yeah. Scared. 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 Yeah, I mean, that really is something else. It is really nuts how they would just go and climb onto me, and they would have me for supper. So yeah, definitely. Imagine like one was just hiding in there, and it just comes out with no regrets. So we know that the iguanas have no regrets. That sounds like a ghost in the distance. Scared. Okay, so something went through here because this tree's all bent over and some of these branches are broken. So something came through here. We just don't know exactly what it is. It could be a skunk ape, we think, possibly. Yeah. So maybe we'd see a kangaroo on the live. Wants to have like a kickboxing contest or something. Some of them could be pretty, strong looking. So it's like okay, a skunk ape. Okay, so a skunk ape is the cryptid. It's like a short little thing like that big right there. Sometimes they're known to be pretty huge. And the skunk ape, it's a smelly thing that smells like rotten eggs, and it lives in swamps. And it's like mysterious. So that's what we made a joke, but we may be really being serious, that a skunk ape went through here because it's all like messed up. Like the next day we go through here, all this stuff's all messed up, but we don't know what caused it. So it's called a skunk ape because it stinks, and it's a cryptid of some kind. It was allegedly seen in Florida and other parts of the country. Yeah, that is true. That is true, Passion. Yeah, and yes, our ancestors are in that swamp. Yeah, exactly. In the swamp, there's all kinds of cryptids here, actually. Right where I am, there's alleged cryptids all around me. There's a swamp. There's a swamp creature that's covered in moss with red eyes, and it'll appear and just start looking around. And there's an island where they allegedly are too. There's also like a werewolf type thing that's been seen. Like, I'm serious. Like, we could just be on this garden live and we'll see like a werewolf just go, just hanging out right there. Yeah, there's been plenty of sightings of different things that have been seen. There's broccoli, and let's see. Yeah, there's one called the Grunch. That's another one. It's kind of similar to Grinch. And it's a grotesque, scaly humanoid with red beady eyes and claws. It was a feral descendant of outcasts and dwarves driven out of the city, while other legends, it was a demonic entity that was created when they did the voodoo craft. This witchcraft lady, Marie, she did voodoo. That apparently could have been something she brought into this world somehow. There's that thing too. The only one I'm aware of is the insulindine plasmid, a giant stick insect type entity that affects human memory and thoughts. Yeah, that is very possible too. We actually saw a stick bug here. That's very cool, Passion. There's a stick bug that I saw a couple of streams ago over out here. Scared. There's a Honey Island swamp monster lurking in the dense. Let's put it over here. Lurking in the dense, isolated Honey Island swamp, just about a 40-minute drive from the French Quarter, is a primate-like beast, often dubbed the Cajun Sasquatch. And witnesses describe a 7-foot-tall, foul-smelling creature covered in madder gray hair with glowing yellow eyes and 3 toed footprints. And gained a massive traction in 1963 when they allegedly saw it. And the Rougarou is the sharp tooth beast. Legendary is a werewolf that's said to stalk the swamps and surrounding region. And it's I've seen a model of it before, and it is big. It's about that big. It's like, it's like up there. It's pretty big. So those are some of the swamp cryptids around here, this very region, allegedly. Okay. Let's see this one. It is the blue immensity insolent region, and that is pretty cool, is the plasmid. Yeah. Now, I believe that there's this entities and creatures here that were not discovered yet. And there's other things there's either a separate Earth or some other dimension that they're passing through from our realm to another realm. That is another possibility as well. That thing that with the buzzing wings, it's going to town. It's making a lot of noise. It could just buzz its wings all that time. Yeah, but it is deep in there somewhere. The unknown buzzing noise. So, and then when you see the things with, the red eyes, it has a different type of nature than the other entities. Okay, new organisms form in swamps all the time. A single called the complex. That's why they're so important to life itself. Oh, okay. So in a way, there's always new cryptids really coming around all the time, according to that logic. Oh, and I didn't know that, but that's pretty cool and it makes sense. It's like there are all kinds of things that are known where new organisms are formed and they're classified as cryptids before we know what they are exactly. Yes, I am surrounded by cryptids. Yeah, because the cryptid is like the unknown creature. So I said, very cool. Yeah. And they're everywhere. All over. Just formulating before our eyes. There's more to this world than meets the eye, and that's exactly what it is. Let's see. Okay, anyway. So, yeah, and this part is always the spookiest part because when we look through here, sometimes there are haunted eyes that will gaze through and go and stare at us. They could be a variety of different things. They could be swamp puppies or something else entirely. There used to be muskrats more frequently in this area. They're around, but they're not as frequent. A muskrat's kind of a crazy looking like a beaver with a rat tail. Okay, and all the birds sound very happy. That's cool. All right, and let's see our feline friends. See where they're at. So you can find Claude or Bubbles. Right, they don't seem to be around right now. Usually Claude's over here and he'll come out. And this is the more well-lit area. I hear things in the distance right here. Some sort of, like a bird. Okay, looks like Claude is out on the hunt. Yeah, so that's what I think. Cryptids are undiscovered creatures, or it's some other interdimensional type thing, or both. I have talked about on this show. There is the Cthulhu creature from Lovecraft, and I didn't realize that this area was actually part of the story. I thought it was very eerie because I was into that story when I was little. There was a gamer called Cthulhu, and he would do the Super Mario games on the Wii. And I thought the creature was interesting, but I didn't realize there was a cult in the story in the swamp that was invoking him. So that was very eerie because it's like this of all the places, it was this region that was associated with him also, and also the East Coast. Because there's like a lighthouse, right? And this big thing comes from underwater. And it lives in the Pacific in a certain spot. Now, there's noises that were coming from that certain spot in the Pacific. So, people a lot of times don't know if, like, the dude was having visions of something or it was something he was just very accurately depicting. So, yeah. I don't mind a bit of mystery and suspense with cryptids. Oh, yeah, people on the show love the cryptids and talking about those types of entities. Yeah. And now the birds are singing. It's pretty cool. Yeah, and the birds, as I said, it's nice to hear the birds because sometimes we haven't really heard the birds that much. And this flower is really, mysterious because it's like a dark void behind it, but the flower is just chilling there. So we see he's doing his job, the bird, and let's see up there. Yeah, to give you an idea about how dark it is, it's you go through this way. Yeah, just complete blackness. Okay, so we've checked the cucumbers and the okras. As I said, there's okra growing on here. I didn't even know that was there. They're just all over this bush. Yeah, so this was a good idea, this plant. I wonder if there's cryptid plants. I have to look into that. Plants that they thought existed. They either do or they don't. Shout out to the Mockingbird. Look at our lizard. He's turning brown now. He's darker than he was before. He's giving himself a tan. Yeah, so the different alien species are mapped out in the uh, files and etc. So that is pretty cool to see. And there's a story of these kids in England that were talking, that they were hearing a siren noise, and they went up to it, and it was a person wearing a puppet outfit, and he looked like a puppet rather than a person. And he looked like he had like a sound box, and he was telling them that he was, it's kind of like from somewhere else. It's kind of like an idea of like a person wearing a clown costume, right? And he lured the kids in the woods, and he showed them this tin house, which is supposed to be like a spaceship, and all kinds of strange things that he can do and tricks and stuff. The guy didn't hurt them, but it was a weird experience, and there's speculation that it may have been an alien taking some sort of form. It could have been some strange being. A darker idea is that it was a human. It was a person, like a magician of some kind. But he didn't hurt the kids, though. He was just showing them a little trick. But in some ways, it's kind of unsettling. It happened around the 70s or so, and it was a big deal. But yeah, there were some construction workers nearby, and they didn't even see the thing, and they were like, only the kids could hear it. Now, why were they able to hear it, but no one else was able to hear it? It's kind of weird. So it's supernatural, or it was someone that was very talented at, putting up a show. That was like a traveling entertainer. Probably would have been a YouTuber now doing those things if they had the technology back then, if it was a person. And there are instances of people encountering these strange things where you don't know if it's like a person or if it's something else. So yeah, the suspense and the mystery is very cool. I always like those kind of things. It's something that I think needs to be explained, because it's like somebody could say that they could see this plant. No, I'm going to do this even better. Like somebody could say they see this tree right here, and put a face on it and starts talking, right? And somebody might say that's crazy, but maybe they are crazy, or maybe there's something going on that we're not aware of, for some reason. Because I think a lot of the ghosts or cryptids or aliens can be scientifically, logically explained. There just may not be an explanation. May not know what the explanation is exactly. They didn't always know how to explain Earth or explain the sun or the body or whatever, so they came up with their own theories about it, right? Or like, say the Aztecs, they sacrificed people. It could have been the Mayans, I might be wrong. But one of those groups sacrificed people every day so the sun could come back up. They just didn't know the sun just comes up on its own. They didn't really realize that. So there's answers to these other questions about what these things are, or how they work. We just don't exactly have the answers at the moment to everything. Gorillas at one time were thought to be not real. They thought they didn't exist. But over time, they realized that something was there. Obviously, something's there. They just couldn't really place what it was. Then they found that they are real. The platypus, for instance, that was believed to be a cryptid, a thing that didn't exist. But it actually does exist. And I'm not saying that there's made up things. Like, you could have a concept of something that is totally made up. That is very possible, right? I mean, there's a purple floating blob, right, that comes out of there and says boo, right? That's something I just came up with right now. I'm not saying that isn't our thing. I mean, if anything, that could be like that. But I'm just saying that there could be something else where it is really there. And there's Mandela effects. There's theories of different dimensions, different universes, where you have possibility, an alternate reality can exist. And sometimes people could either dream and go into those places, or maybe other times they don't go into those places. And it's the mind's projection of what could be or what was. Yeah, Passion, they definitely are weird. It's like a complete Chex Mix, like a hybrid, like a Frankenstein type creature. It's a very beautiful creature and very cute, but it's strange. It's like a beaver duck thing. It's like how in the world does that happen? And was it a link between two different things that were evolving from each other? Was it God wanted to put different things together and make a hybrid creature for fun? However it happened, it's very incredible looking. It really is. You are right. Giraffes are another cryptid. They thought giraffes were fake too at one time. And they figured out that the giraffes were real. So yeah, there's examples of cryptids becoming real that they didn't realize were real at the time, right? So it's not too out of the question to think that there's something else, that these cryptids might be real. Oh, what is that, Brig? It sounds very funny. A giraffe in a tuxedo. Yeah, that's what I was thinking to myself. That's a good way to articulate what I was thinking when you're telling me about a giraffe with a tuxedo. Is definitely ridiculous. Yes. A furry mammal with a beak lays eggs. Brig, you said it well. You said it well. Because I was thinking that would be ridiculous. And that is exactly what it is. As I'm trying to think that maybe it's a giraffe that might be running for mayor of his region. It could be a mayor. He could be running for office. I would trust a ridiculous giraffe politician over the ones that we have now that are humans. And let's see, a furry mammal with a beak that lays eggs and has poisonous tail. Who designed that? Yeah, that was some creativity going on right there. It's a complete, if something's a hybrid, That's exactly what that is. Looks like CBS wins my award for my objective approach to airing speech from earlier, similar to how Jubilee handles it fact checking. Oh, awesome. Facts. And shout out to the CBS. You know, giraffes are almost similar to dinosaurs. You know, giraffes and dinosaurs bear lots of similarities, especially the. Of course, it has a name to it that's obvious that everybody knows, except me right now. But yeah, the giraffes are those dinosaurs with the very long necks. They definitely are related to those dinosaurs somehow. Yeah, I went over there to where the buzzing sound was, and the dude just stopped buzzing. He was not playing games anymore, as I was around. Hey, seeing our feline friends. There's any? No. All right. Yeah, so shout out to the birds. They are doing what they're supposed to do, because a couple of streams they were not doing what they were supposed to do. They were not chirping. So nice they're doing it now. You know, and I like with the say the platypus. The ancestry of the platypus is quite interesting. It's quite incredible, probably. You know, it, it's the creation of the platypus is wild. Yeah, it's like a hybrid car, but better. You know, because there's all kinds of platypuses that it's like, you know, I'm sure they're very smart too. You know, that they have all the brains. That's something that I'm confident about as well. I will say one of the funniest things, a funny thing that I will see, you know, in this swampy region, is a frog or a toad hopping down the walkway. That's funny. Or when you like I pick up a board and I'll see the frog under there, and I just like put the board back down. Yeah. So I would really like to see all the different creatures and cryptids that exist here, but they really are all around us, so that's pretty cool. Never really quite alone with it. Brig, it was an honor. Have a great day. We had a great time. Yeah. And I definitely think with the artistic way some species, yes, a salute to you, Brig, too. The way different species interact with each other it just shows that the different minds are so complex that we don't always understand what they're able to do. Like I will say, a lot of UFOs. Speaking of that, a lot of the UFOs disguise themselves as stars, and then they start moving, and it's not really what it's trying to look like. It's like a camouflage, or that's what they might be. Or a series of the stars themselves are them. Smell the coffee that the coffee factories are making is very good. Did you know that the little box scrolling text at the bottom of the news broadcast is called the Tryon? The ticker makes more sense to me. It's like Chevron gas station has like a little brother. Is that what that is? It's a Tryon. It really went all out with that name. Okay, so a lot of times when someone's watching the news, you'll see a little ticker at the bottom of the screen. It's like, who is you? That's like the idea of it is. It's like, what is this thing? And that's something that I always wondered myself. And then you have this other incident that you're speaking of, where it's called a Tryon. That's pretty awesome. Whoever came up with that. The name comes from the first company to invest in a device that could put moving text on a screen. They named their company after the Greek god's mentor, Chiron, the advisor. Oh, very cool. And it is a fitting name because it's like an advisor. It's like telling you what's going on. So in a way, the name makes sense in a way. Well, I'm glad to know that. Something very important. CBS and Chiron up during Trump's speech. That's what led me to the rabbit hole. Oh, okay. Well, glad to know that. That's a good one to watch. To see the Chiron at the end of their at the bottom of their video. Yeah. Very cool. I'm glad to know that. Because, you know, they'll tell you, like, if you're watching Darrell Brooks saying grounds, you know, you'll see clear as day that it's actually something else, where on the bottom of the screen, the Chiron will tell you what the weather is in different parts of the country. So CBS has the Chiron to tell us what's going on. Facts. Rosy clouds right there. All right, so Passion said, yeah, we need... Okay, so Passion said, oh, we need more Chirons for trials, but apparently they require someone actively inputting them from a system, probably why we rarely get them. Yeah. So, a lot of times, they seem like they're, like, understaffed, or, you know, they're putting their resources into something else, but... Or maybe think about it, but yeah, that would be something cool to have. I guess you get some AI thing to program it to put stuff out, or have it already set to go out automatically. But yeah, that would be something really cool to see during trials. You know, it's cool to get the additional little footnotes while you're doing that. They'd fire the Passion said, yeah, that's true. Passion said they'd fire the photographers if they weren't crucial. Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely think that, you know, and they used to have their mods too, the mod team, and the chat descended into chaos. But yeah, it's really a wild situation, and it's a wild company. They definitely have to cut a lot of things. There will be times when the verdict will be over with, and I mean the trial will be over with for a day, and it's still going. I'm like, are they sleeping or something? Like, you know, hey, it's kind of like you wonder, like, what are they doing? What's going on? There was a time back when I was in the trial chat, and I was sometimes I kind of like manage the chat. I'm not a mod, but I just kind of like voluntarily just manage everything. And there was a time where it was over for the day and they just wouldn't end it, right? And everybody kept asking me over and over again from people I knew and didn't know if it was over. I'm like, it's over, but I don't really know what's going on here. And OJM came out of nowhere, and I didn't see him in a long time. I hadn't seen him in ages. And he told me, he's like, he on IG, on Twitter, he told Kathy that it's just vacant, and to end it. I'm like, well, thank you. And then it ended. So that was really cool. So it was trying to, and everybody's like, and they'll get like a bunch of, like in Finding Nemo, there's like the balking birds. They all start acting like that. Like they all start just kind of balking the same thing. Passion says, yeah, it must be all controlled from the master, the computer, the Law and Crime Trials account. Yes, absolutely. I have a theory there's different people that have access to the different things there. It might be one account with different people that have access to it. LC definitely fired most of the staff. It's wild. We lost everyone but Kathy. Yeah, and you see, this is what happened, Passion. I kept on telling them over and over again. Okay, when they took away the mods, these hordes of trolls started spamming the chat and attacking everybody. And it was miserable. A lot of the old group that I was part of left. Most of them, 99% of them are gone. They're not there anymore. They're subscribed to me, though, but they're not at trial. Like, you don't see them anymore over there. And it was just terrible. And I kept telling them, like, you got to bring somebody in here. This is crazy. And other people were telling them stuff, too. And I was like, bro, who is you, bro? Like, do I have to get the platypus in here? We got to get something done. And eventually they brought Kathy and Alexandra McDonald. I never even know who that is. She's cool, but she's a new mod that was either hired or put there. And it was eventually they brought them in. So the reason why Kathy and other one, I like requested them to come. Yeah. Passion said, I do kind of prefer the new method embraced in the block button instead of having overlords. And it's such an easy button to use. You're right. It's Alexander McDonald appears from out of nowhere. Yeah, and I do think that the mods toward the end were being a little bit of an overkill, and they're being a little bit too oppressive. I mean, a little bit too strict. But I personally don't think they should have been completely abolished, especially since they were like regulars that were there too. Like, think about like for people in chat you like to talk to. It's like it wasn't just about these AI bots that were in the chat. It was also people that you got to know. And I think that you can press a block button, but there's also other methods too, where I think some moderation, like I believe in a version of Law and Crime where there are mods. I don't mind the way it is now. People can write in all caps to do what they want to do. I think it's a little bit too free for all, a little bit. It could be modded a little bit more, but I definitely understand what you're saying, and that is true about the block button. And most people like the new layout, but I just was from another time period from the channel's history. But anyway, it's cool how it is now too. And Passion said, yeah, right. Alexandra McDonald appears out of nowhere. Yeah, I didn't know. She just appeared one day. Alexandra McDonald is a producer at LC who works in the control room and camera feeds for our broadcasts, according to Google. And according to Google, oh, okay. Okay. And thank you for that, Passion. Well, that makes sense. She was just always there behind the scenes. I remember when I was at first, when Alexandra was in there at first, she didn't know what to do exactly with the. This is what happened. So she got the times mixed up. There was a time where we were we were in the chat, and she got the times mixed up, and she said it was like gonna be 12 o'clock. And I'm like, it's gonna be 2 o'clock. And I'm like, it's 2 o'clock, everybody. And she apologized, and she said she's a new mod. And I told her it's okay, it's no big deal, and just gave her encouragement that she's doing very good. And I gave her encouragement in the beginning that she was doing well with the chat. And I didn't know who she was or where she came from, but I figured she was something. So, yeah, but she's cool people. And, oh yeah, I remember that. It's a heavy burden being moderator in such a huge trial. Gotta be 100%. Our old mods were great with that. Such a huge channel. Yeah. I see in Passion. When I was there, I was always in a high stress, situation, because they asked me, what is this? What time does it end? Is it over for the day? I've made mistakes sometimes, but most of the time I would get it right. But man, I was always nerve wracked, because it's like, I didn't want to just embarrass myself. But I would usually get it right. And sometimes I would quickly double check something very quickly. And I was basically like a mod without a wrench. Because two reasons. I didn't ask to be one. They discontinued the mod thing at some point, and I just was around there. So yeah, and that's why you see, Passion, I would listen to multiple trials at one time. Because that's what they used to do. I used to follow the mods around and just kind of assist them. And it felt schizophrenic, but it was pretty cool watching the multiple trials at once. Also, according to Google, Kathy decides what trials we watch next. Are you following the Twitter? That's basically insider information. Yeah. I follow the Twitter. And yeah, she is the one. She's a director. Addie she was a director of something. If it was the chat or whatever, she's apparently the creator of it, of the channel part, and she did it with Kathy. They did it together. And then Addie got let go, and her team, and Linda, LC Linda, is one of the original mods that only stayed. Only original mods there. So, yeah. And I'm glad they put some mods in there, Alexandria and Kathy. I'm glad they at least put them there. It's nice to have them around. And it was, so, you know, that's how the structures of it worked through different time periods. And a lot of times there would be, you know, different groups that we would have, and, you know, they unanimously made me their mascot at some point, and it's like, oh yeah, alien spaceships here. And so I became like a symbol of their channel at some point. And that was, you know, some of the history of the mods that were there. And remember, the mods were let go suddenly, out of nowhere, just out of the blue. Jen stayed for a little while with me at YSL. Then she, you know, disappeared. Some of the sayings and the way I talk to people and stuff came from the way they talked with me, and I continued some of those sayings from the way that they would greet people and stuff. I'm basically a combination of different people in one thing. So I'm like a like a quilt. I don't know if that's a quilt's like a blanket with a bunch of different things in it. So I'm like a quilt of different things. Okay, I see. Addie still works there apparently, but they've pulled away from having her as an active chat member. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to know she still works there. And those are some pink clouds right there. It's pretty cool. And Passion said apparently the TV channel viewers get hosts to watch during trials. I want to see if there's old ones, but those we can watch to see what vibe it is. Yeah, absolutely. You know, because I think that, you know, they give off different vibes a lot of times. The different trials from different eras. You know, like the OJ trial that we you know, you and I saw, it was totally different vibes than the trials we have now. And with Ito with his Discord gamer setup, you know, he really had it all going for him. There's 1,000 mosquitoes flying around me. Wow. Yeah, we don't see a lot of the flashy judges anymore. I won't miss that trend, though. Courthouse is already cluttered. Yeah, yeah, and there's thoughts that he got a little bit too carried away with it, seeing himself as a celebrity, and then again, he comes off as a cool dude, and then he comes off as kind of like taking it too far. That one was wild. And a lot of times now the judges reject gifts and stuff like that. They don't do that anymore. Yeah, it was good that they've changed some things. It need to be fixed over time. The one thing I noticed right away was those computers, because I mean I grew up with those computers, but I never would see such cluttered tables in those trials. Passion said, if you're going to have more than 3 hourglasses, you must have an array, or you're going to be doing it wrong. Yeah, he definitely, and or you're doing it wrong. Yeah, it's a really crazy thing that he had there. He had all those flowers and notes and letters. Yeah, it was pretty crazy to see. At first I thought the hourglass had to do with, he either did something with something else. It made no sense, but I'll make that make sense. It either had to do with the court or some old court tradition, or it was something, a quirk of his. But nah, it was just from the audience. And Array is a model of the solar system with the little planets that spin around the sun with gears and whatnot. Ah, okay, I know what that is. I've seen those before, in class, things like that. I've seen them depicted in TV shows and stuff. Exactly. I'm reading that a little bit wrong. It's Uri. Okay. I probably said it wrong another time, but I see the other R there I didn't see before. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I've just never heard of that word before, but I had an idea of what you meant. But even if I didn't know it off the bat. Okay. All right. So, and that is sun. It looks pretty good. Nice sunrise. It's it's pinkish clouds. Is what that is. They're pretty cool. I made one by subscribing to a magazine that sent it out new part each month. Oh, very cool. That sounds like a fun adventure. And over time, see, everything is instantaneous now. With the way media and the technology is. Everything's instantaneous. He got parts and built it over time. That's pretty cool. Reminds me of this, helicopter I had, where it was a remote control helicopter that you get from like the Walmart or something, and that was pretty cool. But sometimes it would get lost, but I'd find it. So that's like that reminds me of. And when you said that you built it over, you ordered it from a magazine. And I remember when things used to be like that. You'd send away for something, and it comes through in the mail. Yeah. Yeah. So during a science project, we were building those type of planets and stuff like that. I, different other types of models, but predominantly it was the Earth model and other planets that we did. I like Saturn with the rings. Those I always thought were cool because the other planets are just kind of like a floating ball in the sky, and that's cool. But the ring really tells you this is a planet. Yeah, it's like the signature symbol. There was something I had when I was little that had to do with planets where it was I still have it actually. It's this thing where a ball in the middle and it has all the constellations and it kind of like spins around and you pinpoint different planets and stuff. And I had it like for like 20 years and I never opened it, and then I started using it and it was pretty cool. I remember like when I was little, I just saved it for later, and it survived every apocalypse that happened, and there it was still there. I was like, okay, it's pretty cool. But I'm sure now with the AI things, they'll be able to, um, in 3D prints, like people can make 3D prints out of stuff. And now people can just make a 3D print out of something with the AI tools. So it's definitely has advanced in the past 10 years than it was 10 years ago, because the technology keeps on advancing, but not all people are really ready for it. Exactly. Okay, it's looking at the sky now. Oh, really? Really? The 3D printed homes, I have not heard the new update, but I'm not surprised. And you're saying that they were tested and they're already showing faults. Yeah, I'm sure that they do. I'm sure that they do show lots of faults. But I didn't know that. New update. So I appreciate that. Yes, Passion. Gonna have to refine that technology before we start building habitats on other planets from them. Yeah. The technology needs to be tweaked more and advanced, so when we build them on Mars and different places, they'll not start collapsing, and they'll work. Yeah. Passion says we can't send up a bunch of steel reinforcements either. It defeats the entire purpose. We could just send building materials if it was that easy. Exactly. Yeah. Just sending building materials alone would be the thing that would be possibly would be done. But in that situation, it's best to modify this technology as much as possible for it to be completely self-reliant, because when the sun blasts hit the Martian surface, we have to if there's a little dink or a little bend in it, it's going to be not really a good situation to be in, because we don't want to have an underground bunker, because the space worms are going to eat us. So we're going to have to make it so it's self-reliant, pretty much. Yeah. But I'm glad that they at least tested. They didn't do what Stockton Rush did, right? And put himself in the bottom of the ocean with a remote control. They went and tested this thing out first and saw that there was mistakes in it, but eventually they'll fix the mistakes and get it right. But, a lot of people like Stockton Rush, they'll just go and rush and completely ruin everything and blow themselves up, or implode them. Not blow themselves up, but they'll implode themselves. No solar radiation protection either, so we'll already have to send thousands of cubic feet of protective sheeting already. Yeah. We're going to get a lot of the protective sheeting that was designed by the best manufacturers, that even if you have manufacturers that are the best, you could even have a problem. But yeah, that's what we're going to have to use until they completely can perfect these other options. Yeah, and all of that will go into the cargo crate of the spaceships, and they'll send them in space cargo crates to Mars and deploy them. I have to watch out for the space pirates, that they don't try to steal all of that viable steel. Yeah. With the reinforcements of the other devices too, like the force field, because there's also a force field that would be around the compound, like an atmosphere, and it would hit it and deflect things from it. So that would also be activated too. Passion says we can't manufacture that on another planet, so we can use the dirt to make mud and print structures. Maybe we can carbon fiber rods to reinforce or something like that. Yeah. And we could send up a big chunk of carbon for the extrude as a rod, and it's just all more weights that we got to get to escape velocity. Yes, that is much wiser, because the other shipments, it would definitely cause a clutter. Yeah. To escape the velocity. Yeah, I definitely it'll be worth it in the end, because everybody else is going to be underground on Mars, fighting off the space worms. And because, as I was saying, like with the internet travel, the internet from Earth to the stream from Mars to Earth is going to take about 20-minute delay. That's what it will be. And there's ways to put middle ground so it doesn't do that. But that would be also cool to do, because using things from Mars itself with the 3D printers would be very useful too. Kind of like the Statue of Liberty, they brought it over in parts and they put it together. And I thought it was kind of crazy. It was like in France first and they brought it here. I was like, whoa. But yeah, that's how it worked. Oh, glad you like it, Saw. Let's see. Apparently, all the water boiled away, or at least 99% of the water. I don't know exactly what happened there. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what it was, because Mars was a planet at one time that had water on it, and had life on it. And it completely just got evaporated somehow. There's theories that there are people, or some sort of people living on Mars, and they blew it up. With a nuclear war, or the climate had a problem, and then they came here, or whatever, or they just went extinct. So that's a possibility. And yeah, because it, just like we saw on the shows of Passion, it was, you had land masses, and it had water, bodies of water, and lakes and oceans and stuff. And if the core of Mars was rebooted, it could bring it back. The planet's almost like a machine, and the machine has been turned off. So it is very mysterious about what it was, or what it could have been, or what happened exactly. And we got the bird, Mockingbird. They say the planet lost its ozone layer or radiation shield 4 billion years ago, and the solar wind stripped 70% of the water into space where it was atomized. Wow. Wow. Yeah, it was almost like Earth. I guess a cousin to Earth or a sister to Earth. Yeah, so whatever caused the ozone layer or radiation shield to go away, that's what the downward spiral did. We just don't know like what happened 4 billion years ago. It shows you how vast the universe is in our timeline, how insignificant it really is. Passion said that's how important it is that we don't forget to pack the solar radiation protection when we go to move in. Yeah, it's maybe the most important thing that we got to bring along. Yeah. Because it's in a history of Mars, that's what led to the downfall of Mars. I want to make sure this time that we make it great again, and we're going to survive this time. Very good point indeed. And so that's the sun right there with its kind of hazy glow to it. It's quite wild, but it's still very, very beautiful looking. And that's some more of the clouds. Passion said, "Oh God, MMGA, make Mars great again." Yeah, exactly. And we're gonna make the hats, and it's gonna be MMGA on the hats. Yeah, all the way through, and it'll be a place for parties and hanging out, and it'll be a Mars that like never before. People would go to Earth to Mars interchangeably. Yeah, and there's allegedly a face on Mars and other types of critters on Mars, little crabs and things roaming around. But as Pluto allegedly has space snails. So that's another one that has something. Almost looks like a tiny little person right there, the way the leaves look. It's a cloudy day, so it's not like a day where you usually see the sunshine, but it's still a nice sunrise. Yeah, and it's really important to see the, when on Mars, it'll be like a complete new frontier. Away from the issues of Earth. It'll be nice. I'm sure, of course, there'll be challenges and rugged terrain of some Temus lurking around, of course. But yeah, it definitely is a really cool concept, but a lot of times has been messed up. But eventually, they'll get it right. I'll say the depictions of them are accurate. Right. But, taking a meteor or an asteroid and using as a giant drill to drill within the Earth is pretty cool. Hello, Lizard. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well, Lizard. Thanks for coming. All right, so it's like a cloudy morning, so we're not seeing the sun like we usually see it, but we saw something. Okay. Cucumber. So, Lizard, I've been checking this thing because they're producing cucumbers. Pretty cool. This one's about to sprout right there. I wonder if someone born on Mars could use the same mathematics and techniques that the Greeks or Romans used to figure out how far away Earth is. Oh, I believe that they can use it and figure out something that we on this Earth couldn't figure out. Something quite incredible. So yeah, definitely they would be able to use it and perfect it even more, or at least see something from a different angle that we wouldn't see something from. See if the cats are still on the hunt. And I'm sure that they could come up with a different type of mathematics too. And they could make a hybrid version of it too, as well. All right, these are some purple flowers blooming. They're just wild. These grow everywhere. Okay, so do not see them now. They'll come back later. Lizard said, I remember years ago, those people volunteered for that one-way ticket to Mars. Yes. Yeah. And the current technology would take them maybe a few years to get there. But there's some theories we may have more advanced technology they don't really tell us about. That's apparently what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I'm most likely going to be doing trials today of some kind. Yes. Here's another flower that's about to sprout. Oh, there's a couple of them. Oh, look, see the lizard? It's dark green now. He's green now. You see, I told you he was being camouflage. He's like a chameleon. Okay, wow, this is just an okra festival right here. There's more of them popping up everywhere. Lizard, it seems that we made it to the moon, but the footage that they showed may not be completely 100% of them actually going to the moon. If that makes any sense. So, yeah, I think we went there, but they, there's maybe the aliens didn't want us going there and they told us not to go there anymore. Or they, the footage they showed may have not have been the actual event, but they did go there later. Or around that time period. They could have they went there that day. Especially transmitting a signal from space to Earth that fast. So I don't know what the footage was when it was taken, but yeah, we went there at some point. Yeah. The Kiana Davis trial is already verdict watch. They have a whole note from the jurors was like, they refused to deliberate. What do we do next? Scared. We left that reflector up there that you may measure distance with Mythbusters mentioned, and it was a Big Bang Theory too. Oh, okay. Okay, thanks. Interesting. Okay. Mythbusters, just speaking of Mythbusters, that was a very cool show. Very, very cool show. They solved a lot of things, and they solved a lot of myths, but at the same time, there's controversial things here and there, but most of the time they were able to do the show without a problem. But it was really cool to watch, those things fall into place. That was like although YouTube was around back then, that was like YouTube before YouTube was there. That makes sense, that there's reflective light on the moon naturally. Yeah, that could also be as well. Conveniently, the moon always faces us. It's locked in us orientation, so we can always find a reflector from somewhere on Earth. Couldn't they test that by pointing a laser anywhere else and waiting for a response? Yes, they could. Absolutely. Some would question the authenticity of it, but yeah, they definitely could. Let's do this. Possibly the crew before the moon landing shortly is pretty wild. Story's pretty wild. Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, in the moon, their tests, they have things about it that it could be a bunch of ambient light source in itself, that it is a light source, technically. That's what it could be. Because they usually say the mainstream narrative is that it has light that's reflecting off of it. But it's possible that it could have its own light too. There's theories that the moon is like a dome where it's hollow, like it makes a bell noise, like a dingy noise. And that is another thing I find fascinating. The crew before they died because the vapor lock, the first-hand accounts say it was suspicious. Yeah, definitely. There's apparently like an alien base is on the moon, on the dark side of it, apparently. There's another theory that the moon itself is an alien base, and that's why we didn't go back there, because they told us to go away. There was, the creative expressionist film from the 1800s of of us going to the moon in a giant catapult, and they put people in a cannon, and they catapulted them to the moon, and they saw a bunch of people there. Passion, I am not certain. That's about something else. Okay. They died on the runway. Oh, okay, thank you. Look, that's right in the middle, right there. Yeah, rest in peace, travelers, indeed. Yeah. Garden's looking excellent. And every morning, every day, we're gonna be checking these to see if there's new ones coming up. Days before the crew questioned the quality of the aircraft, a documentary he exchanged. Oh, okay. Okay. Scared. Yeah, they always try to do censorship of people that don't, fit in their status quo of their agenda they're pushing. Yeah. Okay. All right. And yeah, so the sun eventually broke through, and that is awesome. Okay, and we have more of it right here. And let's look at it like this. I also watched a documentary about the radiation field that would have had to cross through, that would have shredded the ship and crew. Ah, okay, yeah, that is very tragic, indeed. Well, I'm glad that you figured out uh, and researched that. But yeah, it definitely is a crazy situation. Oh yeah, Saw Girl, I'm glad to know about that. Thanks. And yeah, we do get lots of rain here. Yeah, it's like the rainforest. And that's why they had this place back in the past, because of what they could grow here. Yeah. Yeah. So well, it's good to see some garden sun live. You know, while it lasts. Yeah. Right. Scared. Okay. And let's go this way. Okay, so at this point in time, stream will be ending, and I'll be live later with a trial. Okay. And shout out to the sirens in the distance, too. And Lizard says also read about how the film. Saw Girl, he was earlier. He was chirping around like an hour ago. Yeah, he's quiet right now, but he was there. He was here earlier. His shift changed a little bit. But I do agree, it's very quiet. Oh, thank you, Saw. And read how the film they use their cameras and not how they survived the trip based on experiments conducted. Okay, thank you, Lizard, for telling us about that today. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. All right, everybody, and peace.